This is kind of a historical panel. We'll start off first. Hi, I'm Colin O'Connor, generally known as Rodea. I am on the board of MNFurs, which is the parent organization for Furry Migration.
And my name's Eric, or real name Edward. I'm currently on the board as well for Furry Migration, parent organization of Furry. Yeah, I think I mixed that up.
Yeah, you got a little backwards
yeah, I know,
there,
right?
but that's okay. I think they understood what you mean.
So let's just unmix that up. I'm on MNFurs, parent organization of Furry Migration. This is a panel on how this all came to be. Welcome, by the way.
Welcome, welcome. Yeah, we, MNFurs, actually, I think this winter is going to mark our 13th year being here in the cities.
Yep, that is true.
And Minnesota Furs started a long time ago in a faraway place called the Devonies.
Yeah, it started in a Devonies, then it moved to, I believe, the Eden Prairie Mall, and then back into a Devonies. But yeah, it started as a collection of just 6 people that were meeting up. They all were furries. They found each other, I believe, on Yahoo groups back in the day.
It all started as a Yahoo group
that really
back
dates it
in
right
the
there.
day.
Back before, there's like Google Places or, there's Facebook back there, but back then, but no one used it. No one cared. There's MySpace.
It's older than Facebook.
Yeah.
2005 was Facebook.
There's stuff before Facebook.
Yeah, I know. So the group is technically older than Facebook. Those first 6 people got together, and it quickly grew to about 15, 20 people, and they would get together every couple of weeks at whatever restaurant was picked, and they would hang out in the back corners. And it was just local furs getting together, and then slowly they started going, hey, we got a few more people, let's go do some movies. And then after about 3 years, there was a defining moment. Something crazy happened. Said, hey, let's have a picnic. And thus began one of the most crazy traditions for Minnesota Furs. See, at that point, Minnesota Furs was maybe 30, 40 people. And Kellick, who is the current con chair, was the original creator around the ideas of the picnic. So twice a year, we would get together at a park here in the Twin Cities and hold a picnic. And it would be a potluck style, so everyone would bring something. We'd cook some food, and it would be a lot of fun. Everyone would socialize. It kind of became our big thing here. And these picnics went on for years and years and years.
And at the time, we thought it was crazy because our first picnic, we got like 60 people. And we're like, whoa, that's a lot of people. That's crazy.
How are there so many furs around here?
Yeah, exactly. 60, man.
We thought it was just the biggest number in the world. And these picnics kind of became the staple for the next 8 or so years. 7, 8 years. And they would be the big things that we would do, and it was just the old guard would get together and be like, hey, we should do a picnic again. Who wants to run it this time? Sure, I'll do it. I'll take it to a park near me, and I'll reserve the pavilion. And all these things were being run out of pocket by the people in the community. And every year it would grow and it would grow.
Yeah, and it would keep people just volunteer to help out with something. Like there's this crazy guy who volunteered and said, you know what? Last year there was a guy that almost lit himself on fire because he wanted to see what happened if he lit a garbage bag full of gasoline on fire. We should make a badge for this year commemorating that, a name badge, and we should do donations, and if you donate to us so we can keep running these things, you'll get one of these badges. This fool's sitting in front of you right now. I should have, not the one that lit the gasoline on, no, just the guy that said, was not smart enough to say the two-letter word that would prevent all this. Instead, he used the other 2-letter word, okay, which is, the Minnesotan passive-aggressive side of me. I meant to say no, but I said okay.
And unfortunately, the rest of them weren't Minnesotan enough to understand. So they took it as, that's fine.
Exactly. A language barrier happened, so.
And these picnics kept growing, and every year there would be more and more and more people. And all of a sudden we looked around and we realized there's 150 people, 200 people at this picnic. And the brilliant idea, one of our members had the thought of, hey, let's try doing a little hotel event where we'll get together and go to a hotel. We created our first little hotel event, which was called Snowpocalypse. It was held in the middle of winter, and it was kind of a disaster.
Yeah, it was funded by ordinary people, not an organization at that point, and it was people's names on the contract. So basically, if anything happened, if the hotel was destroyed, they'd come knocking on one person's door demanding restitution.
But people had a lot of fun at it. And people had already kind of asked, hey, there's so many furs here. We do these weekly meets, these bi-weekly get-togethers. There's so many of us. Why don't we do a con? And the old guard, of which we at that point were some of, we kind of sat down and we all got together. There was about 15 of us. We all sat down and we're like, why don't we do a con? We should give it a shot. And we started thinking, yeah, but we need like a secure bank account and we need, insurance and all this. And we need to have legal protections if we're going to do this. That's kind of how any other group does it. And so we started what we thought was completely crazy at the time. And as far as we can tell, no other furry org has done this since either. We started down the path to become a full nonprofit.
Yep, full educational nonprofit. Not a social one, but one actually aimed at bettering the community within and outside of our fandom as well.
And so those 15 people or so met for the next year and a half. And together they went through the process, signing all the paperwork, reading all the legal documents, losing many nights of sleep. I know I did. And we kept going and going and going until we had this paperwork. And one brave, stupid day, some chowderhead took the paperwork and walked up to the Secretary of State's office and dropped it off in a box. And that chowderhead is right here. And from that day forth, Minnesota Furs became an actual nonprofit. And it started changing things for us. We had already started working with some other organizations in the cities, one of the notables being Como Zoo and their Halloween Zubu event. We have so many suitors, naturally fursuiters, at a Halloween costume event designed to be a safe and fun place for kids. Kind of an easy place for fursuiters to go.
Yep.
Fursuit romps, geeky organizations here in the cities. We started helping out with Anime Detour here in the Twin Cities. We started helping out with MFF and doing this other stuff. And now we're looking at this going, okay, we've got this. You know what? Let's get started on a con. And all the while, we kept running our regular events. We had our own website by then that was built by some amazingly dedicated individuals. They help maintain it to this day. And the community kept growing and growing and growing. And right now, there are about 400 to 500 furs here in Minnesota alone that we know of. And that's just here in the area. And they come to the events regularly. And our bi-weekly fur meets now see an average of 80 to 100 people per night.
Yeah.
That's the size of some small cons in other parts of the country.
And the crazy thing is, not a week goes by that someone new doesn't contact us and say, I never knew there was a group like this in the state. I thought I was the only one.
It is. Every week, sometimes every day. More and more people sign up on the website and join. And so from that started the growth of the con and everything else. But, as we evolved with this nonprofit status, we started looking, there's so much more we could do. And this is where we sat down and we started brainstorming and thinking, this opens up all sorts of new volunteer ideas. And this is now where we're starting to get into what we do today. And all of this has led up to today. Right here, right now. All of that work, years of planning and work, have led to this con. And a change in our status as of a little earlier this year. We were always a nonprofit, but after much hard work and the dedicated efforts of almost a dozen individuals, Minnesota Furs has become, as far as we can tell, the very first furry 501c3 charity. We are a full-round year organization.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah, exactly. And they don't give out that lightly. I mean, when you register to try to become a charitable nonprofit, you don't just do yes/no questions. They make you fill out essay questions, a stack of paper this big.
We had 250 pages in the final submission, and that's small for some. And it took 9 months just at the IRS, and it took 2 years of filling out paperwork, back and forthing.
Yeah, I unfortunately added a few papers, being that one of the things I really wanted to do was be able to have a scholarship program to further improve people within our community that wanted to do higher learning, that wanted to do something else. Unfortunately, him and the treasurer and myself had to spend a lot more time adding in all the essays for that, because that's a completely separate thing. Not all nonprofits have scholarships.
But yes, we actually do now have a full scholarship program that we have available to members that we award one a year to help out people to further their education, go to school, that sort of stuff. And it's something we feel very strongly about. Everyone on the board, it's something that we all care about. And we all do a lot of volunteering. Our efforts with the Como Zoo and other things, we work with a lot of pet shelters and rescues, helping raise money for them. And of course, for our community, we're constantly working on outreach, bringing in new people, new events, things going on. In fact, we are looking at our picnic. Our next picnic is coming up in September, on September 26th. And we are predicting, based upon the numbers, to break 300 people at this picnic.
But of course, we're used to seeing hundreds of people, and it's funny because we have friends in other countries, and we say, oh yeah, we're doing this picnic. It's 200 people, and then we'll say like, oh yeah, we're thinking about running a convention. They're like, that's not a convention, it's like that many people. But back on that scholarship thing, the real interesting thing too is one of the recipients of that is actually doing a panel here on Sunday. It's called Volunteering Worldwide. They actually went to Africa to aid at some of the animal rehabilitation clinics over there, and actually learned about, she stayed in several villages in the area, learned about other cultures, and she's bringing back all of her photos and her complete journey that she spent over there. She's going to be telling everyone about.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something that's really cool. But we're talking about the 501c3. What does that really mean? What does that entail? Well, part of it is MNFurs now can take tax-free donations, which is really nice. The other thing is MNFurs now has a formal administration in its board of directors. They are the ones who help plan and execute all of the major events that go on. But here's what's really unique and what sets Minnesota Furs apart from every other fur organization, convention or otherwise out there. The leadership of our furry community here in the cities is elected by our membership. That is how it is decided as an election. No other furry organization is like that, period. And how we do that? How do we determine our members who can vote? Volunteering. We ask our members to help volunteer at events, whether it's picking up after a picnic or overseeing a fursuit romp or doing photography at an event or anything. We have tons and tons of volunteer opportunities, and those who earn volunteer credits get the right to vote, amongst other things.
Amongst other things.
There are other benefits associated, and there's more coming with being a full member of a full registered member with the full volunteering credit. But the big one is you get a vote on who leads the organization.
Or if you are, if you don't use that two-letter word properly and it becomes okay instead of no, you can even run for the board with those volunteer hours.
Yep, that's all you need to run for the board is have volunteered. If you have volunteered 20 hours of your time, you could be here. You could be helping oversee
or
all
you
of
could
this.
you could be somewhere. You could be a member of the organization, not necessarily up on this table. If you wanted to, you could.
Theoretically.
Right? Yeah,
theoretically.
Right.
So, and this is a great and wonderful thing, and now we're really pushing educational efforts. We're working on plans for classes to help out furs in life skills, crafts, fursuit making, all this other stuff. These are things that we've been working on slowly. There's the scholarship program. There's all new volunteer opportunities. We're actually working on forming a full partnership with Como Zoo, and that would be very good. We have a partnership with the Geek Partnership Society here in the cities to use their space for events and other things like that. And really right now, the sky's the limit. We are now on the board looking up and going, anything is possible. We are continuing to reach out to new furs, to new communities, trying to do new events. And that is one of the big things, and we're now looking to our membership and saying, hey guys, we've done this, what's next?
Yeah, and that's one of the unique things about our organization. We're here to give people in the community a voice. We're not here to do our own thing, what we want. We're here to do what everyone else wants.
And I mean, and it's getting notice. How many of you are local? Those of you who are local might have seen in the Star Tribune earlier this year the article. And that was done with our members coming and saying hi and talking with the reporter. And the reporter and the cameraman, they came to the winter parade where we had at President's. They came to our spring picnic. And they had a blast. We've talked with them since then. They had so much fun at the furry picnic, they actually designed their own fursonas.
Yep. Well, they had to. Also, we gave them complimentary badges at the spring picnic, and they adorn their offices with all this, furry bling and whatnot. So, and we've since told them, anytime you guys are welcome to attend and be a part of this community.
And it was really funny. He and I actually did the initial interview when they first thought of it, because the idea for the article actually was spawned after the unfortunate events at MFF last year. And they actually contacted us and they're like, hey, we heard about this in the news. We're not sure what's going to go on. But we found you here in the cities. Would you be willing to do an interview? And we said, sure. And then the reporter, she came out, and then she sees
I don't think we were what she was expecting, though, at the time.
It's because we met her in an upscale coffee shop, both of us wearing full business suits.
Oh yeah, because we came from work, and that's how we dress a lot of the times. I mean,
yeah, and she was like, "You guys aren't what I expected." And I'm like, "We have members who are everything from heads of companies and well-earned, well-respected individuals in their fields.
Airline pilots, even a few of them here.
Yep, we have airline pilots, medical researchers, doctors, web developers, company CEOs. And everything you can imagine. Furry comes from everything, and that was one of the very first things that was talked about. Furry comes from everywhere, and that's the same here. And we, those of us here who've been the old dog and know some of this, we view it as our responsibility to help this community and keep going. And that is what drives us, is the community here. And this is why we keep pushing and pushing and pushing to see what can we do next.
Exactly.
We already hear Furry Migration is huge. We never expected it to be something like this. And
especially you.
I know.
This guy here, he was the pessimist that first year.
I'm the pessimist. One of my roles is the managing of the legal things. I'm supposed to be the pessimist. Come on, it's legal. The legal guy is supposed to be the pessimist. That's normal.
The pessimist is the realist.
Exactly. And last year and this year, I just get blown away when this happens, because it's so amazing. The attendance is unbelievable. The joy everyone has, and it just makes us want to do this more and more. So this is just the start. This is just the start. We have a panel coming up tomorrow. One of our outreach opportunities is we're actually working to reach out with furs in other parts of the country to help them found their own organizations just like ours.
Oh, you mean that's not this panel? Oh, whoa. Damn.
Come on, I thought I gave you the agenda. Oh, what am I going to do with you?
I don't know, throw me out.
Apparently. But, we're reaching out. We want to see, we may be the first, but we don't want to be the last. We want to see this continue everywhere. We want to see other furry organizations spring up, do their own things, and show how awesome furry is to all the geeky communities everywhere.
That's something else, too, that we want to reiterate. Through this process, there's some people in furry that think of it as sort of an island unto itself. I used to be that way like 10 years ago. Man, I'm old now.
So did I.
And but when I first
you're
got
the gray muzzle, not me.
Yeah, I'm above 30 gray muzzle. Well, I'm losing the hair, so I'm getting there. But no, I used to think of this was just a little island of furry. We're kind of these weird cliquish club, but the thing is, in all the other nonprofits we work with, and the media relations, and the I'm part of the hotel team here, so I deal specifically with the hotel people as well. We're all geeks. That is the driving force of what we do. We're our own type of geek, but we're all geeks. And through that, I mean, look at we live in an awesome day now where it's cool to go and see superhero movies. I mean, look at all the biggest blockbuster movies are all Marvel movies. There are geeks everywhere. And so it's really cool. It's really easy to relate, like, okay, sure, like, I can talk to some of the people with the hotel. They might not be furry, per se, but they totally they know what Comic-Con is, and they totally get the whole, oh yeah, dress up as a character, you know, your favorite character or something. Well, you can use that as a bridge and say, well, I do that too. The only difference is that I created my character, but it's the same thing. I mean, it's a common point of reference now.
There was a joke I heard in the geek community that I thought was spectacular. The furry community is one of the only geek communities where your journey starts at a character creation screen. But yeah, I mean, and it's people like you guys who come to these things and enjoy your time, and it encourages us to keep going. So I think now, though, I think it's a good time to open up. Is there for questions, comments, what people think, if they have ideas? Mm-hmm. We want to hear it.
I just want to say that article in the Star Tribune was one of the best things that I had seen because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and that was great that you had that out there.
Yeah.
And we were also very fortunate because Sharon Jackson, the reporter that did that, she was very much concerned on getting to the bottom of things, the truth. She saw especially how some of the news anchors reacted to the story in Chicago and just how disrespectful they were being. And she really wanted to find out what the real story was. And, I mean, she was just blown away by everything that we're trying to do, the things that we do now, and, you know, but we're not happy with that. We constantly want to better ourselves, our community. We want to help all of you guys as well to, you know, if you want to do something, you know, to find that potential, to put you in contact with the right people or help however we can. I mean, that's why we're here. That's really why we do what we do, and because, I mean, it's not all fun and games, all the paperwork, as you said, and whatnot, but you guys...
Says the guy who does almost none of the paperwork.
See, this is why I said it, exactly. This is delegation. This is another key task, you know, key thing to running an organization. But
And you delegated to me. What does that say about me?
You're a follower?
Apparently.
in our organization, he's the secretary. So the secretary has all the notes. He has the to-dos. He talks to everybody. So definitely not a follower.
But yeah, that article was very scary. I mean, I was one of the people interviewed and that was talked about. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of scary being out there and admitting, hey, this is a part of who I am. I spent more than one sleepless night after that article was published.
And we had our other board members who, of course, were concerned. You know, we were the media relation people for our community, for our nonprofit. So they trusted us, but they were very, hey, you okay? Doing all right?
So was the community. They were very nervous. But after that article came out, everyone let out a collective sigh of relief, and they were so excited and so happy about it. You know, and we like I said, we've talked with the reporter and her cameraman, and they loved it. They adored it. Apparently, the entire Star Tribune staff adored it, from what we've heard from them now too.
And it actually it gained some national attention as well. There were some websites, news websites, that reblogged that as well and linked to it. It was actually a pretty big news story for a while online.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was seen by the furry community the world over. It was seen by geek communities the world over. And this has never been seen on a scale like this in a positive light. And it's just, we're glad to have been a part of it and to have a community that lets us be that cool.
And, you know, sometimes our community, of course, gets a bad rep. Obviously. I mean, you can't don't look on the internet. You'll find all kinds of bad stuff about the community. But the thing is that, and some of the came up with the reporter, and the thing is that we were just honest about how everything went. We just explained, you know, using this thing called logic, I guess. And, you know, the main thing is just when you're talking to the press or to anyone about, you guys are ambassadors of furry. We're all ambassadors of what we love because you're passionate about this. You wouldn't be here if you guys weren't passionate about it. And we're passionate about it too. And just talking about that passion, showing that excitement, that's what makes the difference. I remember one of the stories I had told, because Sharon wanted to talk about fursuiting. And unfortunately, Radea over there, Colin, he does not yet have a fursuit. So
what can I say? I'm a dragon. I have certain vanity.
Nothing's good enough. Yes, we'll let you fan yourself off over there. But so I mentioned, oh yeah, I have a fursuit, and all of a sudden, okay. But one of the stories I told that really kind of solidified what we're all about is I'm one of the two people that was really started the relationship with Como Zoo and the volunteering effort that we do there. And I remember the second year that we were doing it, there was this little girl. There's lots of kids there running around. Well, she was running around not knowing where she was going, and I have big feet, and she actually tripped over my feet. And I saw that happen. I'm like, oh! I was so scared because, of course, she falls down, and she was wearing shorts, which is even worse, like knee right on the concrete. And this little girl, she was maybe only 5 years old, and I'm like, oh no, here comes the waterworks, oh no. And indeed, she started to cry. So I did the only thing I could at the time while I'm in this wolf costume. I start mimicking her, you know, and crying myself. And she stops crying. She actually lifts up the muzzle of my fursuit, looks me in the eyes, and says, oh, don't worry, I'm okay. And I told that story to Sharon, and she just lost it. She just started
bawling.
Yeah, and I mean, but, you know, that's sort of the power of what we do and what we can do for, you know, even some of us aren't kids anymore, but it's funny because I do the costuming, and it's as big a thing for the adults as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously we all know that this is not a real 6-foot wolf standing in front of you, but we're able to kind of disbelieve that for a few minutes.
What do you mean wolf? I thought you were a polar bear.
A polar raccoon, it changes, you know, every day. Yeah.
Someone once confused his wolf costume as a polar bear, and we've never let him live it down since.
Well, Como Zoo's never forgotten. They still refer to me as a polar bear.
That was the year they stuck you out in front of the polar bear area, too. So
it was.
But yeah, so any other questions? Any thoughts? Or I'd love to hear from you guys. I mean, you're here. To us, simply being here means you're a part of the MNFurs community. That's how we define community. If you're here, you're one of us.
Oh.
Go ahead and go.
Yep.
It's just interesting you mentioned trying to expand the education program of you're part of your charitable organization. And I've worked in higher education now for about 5-6 years. I'm currently working in financial aid too. So what I do with a lot of basis packaging, people who are going to college in financial aid. And there's a lot of people who don't know the type of effects that they're going in there. So is that something that you guys are looking into, or is it just more, because I know you mentioned a scholarship program and sort of life skills, but are you more targeting towards like college age people, or kind of where's that idea, that program going towards?
High school, college age is the general target that we're going for.
Okay.
And it's you know, there are furs in the community who have a harder time dealing with outside society. We want to work on helping them, but it's also for furs who say, I want to go do something with my life. We also want to be there to help empower them and be a part of their life in that way.
Part of it too is mentoring in a way as well, because it's important that people, especially young people of that age, know their options and really understand it. Like in the back of the room, my boyfriend, I'm going to pick on you, sorry. He ended up going to art school, and we didn't know it at the time, but that turned out to be a major, major, major investment. I mean, going to some of these Ivy League schools is less expensive. And they just, they rope the kids in, and don't worry about it. It's all school loans. Don't worry about it. And before you know it, sometimes you've racked up 60, 70,000 in school loan bills.
Quite amazing
And
how much people borrow.
And but it doesn't necessarily have to be. There are options for, maybe you want to start with a community college to establish that associate's degree, and then maybe from there to get your bachelor's you want to go to, a more prestigious school. Or, there's just so many options, and just to be able to try to, as Radea told you guys earlier, we have people in our community from all over. I mean, there are IT professionals. There are some people that work on oil fields that I know personally. There's an airline pilot that's wandering around somewhere in the convention right now. We're all over the place. We have so much experience that we can really share with each other and help each other out with.
And it's not just career. There's people who like electronics, those who might be good at singing, those who are good at art, those who might like woodworking or metalworking, those who are good and enjoy working on cars or are fans of them. And one of the things we view as part of the mentorship role is when we see a new member is to walk up and say, hi, hey, how are you? So what do you like? And try and help them find people in our community that we feel they can connect with and see if they want to learn from them too. It's like, hey, I really like drawing. Hey, here, cool. Let me take you over here and introduce you to some of the other artists. Or, I really like tinkering on a computer. Hey, we have a bunch of guys over here who are programmers and IT nerds, and here, come chat with them. And I know I've definitely expanded my professional network thanks to the furry community, and I know for others it's the same too.
Yeah.
That's part of what we consider too mentorship here, is helping first find people who are just like them and are interested in the same things as them, even within our community. Because there's more than just furry that makes us up, and if we can build more and a stronger community by helping get everyone together, then it's so worth it. Cool.
All right.
Is there any way there could be like an outreach to furries that are in the military? Because being myself a Marine, I've gone around and you don't really see them get together. You sort of just run into them on occasion. But then normally they're never in a community because of what's going on. So I've noticed that quite a bit. Like a few friends that I've known, when I've been out there, several of the Marines, I'll get them on Facebook or something, and then we'll leave. But then later on, like a couple years down the line, he was actually furry the whole time.
Yeah,
I've known
really interesting because
I've known several military furs as well, and I've not thought of that. I've just written that down as a note here, so I'm going to take that back, so we can actually discuss that on the board as an option. Thank you for bringing that
exactly.
up.
That's the first time we've heard that, and we have other people here that have been part of the Army. Actually, a lot of Army furs here.
We've got a couple that are Air Force, one who's currently on active duty. She's just on leave at the moment. She came back just for the con, so.
That's easier.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Came back from the con when I leave.
Well, thank you for coming then.
Yeah, thank you for serving, and thank you for coming. Exactly.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, definitely we're going to take that down. We're going to see what we can do for that, because that is a wonderful idea. And I know a couple of furs local who are now retired or reservists who would love to do that. So,
Yeah.
and I'm a fan of people in the military. Both my father and stepfather are ex-Navy, so.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's exactly why we're here, and why all you guys are here as well. I mean, we can't, we take care of a lot of the boring paperwork. We take care of a lot of it. But the thing is, you guys really give us the direction and the drive. So thank you again.
And that's what we view our role too as being on the board is. Our role is to do all the boring stuff so you guys can do all the fun stuff.
Exactly.
Is also another idea. Is there like some kind of Facebook group or some social media group?
We have an entire website with its own forums and users and everything like that. www.MNFurs.org. And it is a large, we have, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 members now on the site, and it has all been built by Furs, it's maintained by Furs and run, and it's where we do a lot of our stuff. And it's the way we do outreach. We also have Twitter.
Twitter, MNFurs, Twitter.
We have a Facebook group, but that's kind of dying because it seems like people are getting away from Facebook. We have FA pages. We have a Google Plus group. So MNFurs is really out there. I mean, if you go to but our primary place is our website. And on our website, we have forums, we have photo galleries, we have a live members chat for anyone who signed up. They can just come in and chat and messaging.
We have a section on if you're curious about what it really takes to make our group tick. We have sections for operational documents so you can review everything, that makes us work.
We're transparent. Everything that we do can be requested by our members. We don't hide anything. It is there for the members to request. We may request that the members not spread it around because it may involve people's private information, but it is all available, and we are always available. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely suggest the MNFurs website. And my personal favorite feature of the website, the calendar, which shows every day what's going on, and we have sometimes as often as 3 or 4 MNFurs events a week, every week.
Everything from book clubs to movie nights, bi-weekly fur meets,
bowling.
The
picnics,
I mean,
dinner outings.
And it's not just something that the board is organizing. A lot of these are organized within the community. There's actually on our website, there's a submit event button. So anyone who wants to do anything from like maybe a coffee gathering or, like bowling is a good example too that several people have done.
There was a wonderful event that was done by one of our members about 2 months ago. For those who are above the drinking age, they actually rented out part of a brewery and had a tails and ears dinner and drinking in the brewery. And I mean, and people have all these really cool ideas that come up over time, and we always give it a shot and see how things go. We have holiday parties, and I mean, I would definitely check out MNFurs.org because it's our primary website. And if you stop by Consuite is hosted by MNFurs, and there's a bunch of little flyers with our address and the website and a little bit about us there too. So absolutely, join the website. That's where all that is. So, and if you ever volunteer, do anything for the org, that's where you can actually submit. It's all done through the website.
Yeah, and if you can't remember the website too, all you have to do is search Google for Minnesota Furs, and we're top of the list.
All right, cool.
I've been in the fandom about 6 years, kind of going around, and I've never heard about it before. The only reason I heard about this one, what was his name? I ran into somebody at the Mall of America. Like on a random visit, I was like, it was like, even though I've been in fandom for about 6 years due to where I've been, I've never actually seen another furry before. So actually seeing somebody just with something on, I'm like, finally!
We actually do events about every couple of weeks down in the mall these days, so.
Yep, one of our, we usually do movie nights once a month, and they generally alternate between North Metro and South Metro, so at least every other month there's a movie night at Mall of America.
And we like to do dinner outings there, because there's a lot of nice restaurants and book club meetings because it's easy for everyone to get to, and there's always parking.
Yeah, that's one nice thing. So,
yes. Absolutely, glad to see you. Go right ahead.
Earlier during the opening remarks, we were talking about bi-weekly meeting. Is that you guys? Or?
Yes, that is us.
Bi-weekly meets, yep.
Yes, we do bi-weekly meets. Normally there would be one tomorrow, but naturally there's not because we have a convention going on. Be a little redundant at that point.
Is there a standard place for that, or should I just look online?
It's generally a standard location. It's at a place in Hopkins which is on the west side of the metro, and it's at a Perkins. And
Well, it's actually, we filled up the Perkins, so we've also spilled across the street to a Caribou, which also works because some people like to sit down and have a meal. Other people like to have a cup of coffee in their hand and move around and chat with all sorts of different groups. So it kind of works for the gamers that want the table space as well as the people that want to get around and talk to as many people as possible.
The one near opposite Crossroads?
Yep.
I'll work over Hawkins.
Yeah, it's the one over by the Crossroads. Yeah, right over there off Highway 7. There's actually a nickname. Both the staff there and the MNFurs community have nicknamed that Perkins the Furkins.
I haven't, but
That's because you're a stick in the mud.
yeah. I'm a gray fur.
Yeah,
Very
but the
much
next
so,
one's
yeah.
in about 2 weeks, so I believe it's the 13th of September.
Yep, and all the info is on MNFurs.org, calendar at the bottom of the page. It'll show you when, if you click the calendar, it'll pop up with a map. But you already know where it is, so that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're always, like I said, we see 80 to 100 people a night usually, so it's a big crowd. At some point, we're just going to have to talk and see if we can't reserve the entire place.
Yeah.
So yeah, any other questions, any other comments? I'm loving the feedback we're getting from you guys.
I'll go again.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah.
One of the things you guys mentioned earlier was just kind of having like furry being on an island, and I still kind of feel that way at sometimes. Having been to a lot of cons, a lot of meets too. How did you transition from that stage into making it kind of just a bigger or more inclusive part of your lives? I know, and maybe getting a little personal, but it just definitely seems like a transition, a positive transition.
Well, I know as part of the organization, one of the things we did is we realized as we were running this, we couldn't do everything alone.
on our own. Yeah, they're just the talent pool that was required. We're still building that even this day. So we had to become talent scouts and actually find it.
And we also had to look for people to mentor us who had already gone through the process. Because we said, we are noobs in this. We don't know what we're doing.
Exactly.
Please find us some MLG person for another fandom. And we started talking, and we started looking around, and some of us had friends in some of these other communities who had done similar things. And we started networking with them first on a personal level and then on a professional level to reach out and say, hey, we're trying to do this. Can you help? And they said, sure, we would love to. And they helped us. Yeah. And we were so thankful for it that as an organization, one of the things we want to do is try and reach out and give back to help others in the way we were helped when we couldn't do it ourselves. So anime, geeky, that was one of the first things we did. And then, but that's, on a professional level. On a personal level, it was kind of hard. I mean, at first it starts, just going to the meets and meeting others and being friendly about it, and then you got to learn to talk to other people about it.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing in the corporate world or in nonprofit. When you get a certain level, it's called the elevator speech. You want to basically, and you know about it, when you reach a level, you want to be able to introduce someone to your organization and boil it down into a speech or a discussion that could essentially happen in between levels on an elevator. Usually this is about 60 seconds, really what is your association all about? And a lot of that, it's tough at first because you're like, how do I bring this up? Like, even with my coworkers all know about it, and it's funny because after they actually called me right after the thing that happened in Chicago, and they were all, "Are you all right?" And a lot of it's finding the language to really show what you're passionate about and show that in terms that, just make it relatable.
Yeah, and I mean, I know, like, with MFF too, it was interesting. Like, I had originally come out to my family when I was still a teen, as furry and all of that, and 2 nights later, my parents came, sat me down on my bed, and they went, so you say you're a dragon, does that mean you're going to try and jump off the roof thinking you can fly?
Well, yeah, and that's like when I first told my my parents about that, and, does that mean you want to get a tail grafted to your body?
And
no.
You get some of those awkward conversations at first, but one of the things here that I view as important with MNFurs, we're now a nonprofit. We have a legitimacy that is hard to find anywhere else. And I think for new furs now, especially those who volunteer and help out, if they need to talk to someone and they're part of our org, yeah, it's this group full of these guys, all these guys and gals who like animals. They like to volunteer and do outings together, and it's like a geeky group.
Yeah, it is.
It
really
gives them, it's like, they say, here's a nonprofit. This is a full, legitimate organization recognized by the government, by the IRS, by whoever. And, it adds legitimacy. It's like, oh, so these are people who like to do things to make stuff better and connect to people. Okay, that helps people understand and they can relate to that.
And when you start with animal as foundation, and you can move on from there, because we're a collection of artists and artisans and performers, and we've got wildlife photographers in this fandom, photographers in general, artists, anthropomorphic artists, wildlife artists, every
novelists.
Oh yeah,
creators.
we've definitely got the novelists in there too. It's the full gauntlet. It's the full collection of everything, and that's something. When you explain it that way, because a lot of other organizations, that's one thing we are a little bit different about. With anime, they're fans of animes, but because of our roots in our organization, Furry as a whole, we didn't have this content to be, fans of this content. So as a result, we do a little of everything, and we're all fans of each other in some way. Like there's so many people here that I admire and that I'm so thankful to know, and they're just ordinary people. It's not like, oh, this is a voice actor person no, this is just like Radea here, who I'm in awe that works as hard as he does, puts so much effort into it all, and just hasn't gone away yet.
You're going to make me blush.
Oh, I do declare.
I declare you are giving me the vapors.
Oh, Mr. Eric, you go on. Yes, anyway.
But yeah, I think there still is a level of fear. I know when the article came out in the paper, fortunately I had talked with my bosses. I'm like, by the way, I'm going to be in the paper on this. And they're like, so what's this about? But, one of the things they were looking at it, and they're like, oh, so this is leadership stuff that you do. Mm-hmm. And it's all in finding a way. I think one of the things that this is helping doing for not just us, but the community as a whole, and for the individual members coming into the community and trying to reach out now, is it provides them what I would call hooks. Mm-hmm. Things that let them relate to the people they're talking to help them understand it. And they're like, okay, we relate on this. You're just looking at it from the left, and I'm looking at it from the right. Mm-hmm. It's like, I may not fully understand this part of it, but I do get this and I do get this. So, okay, that makes sense. And I think that's a big part of what educating not just furs, but the entire community, the entire geeky community and others is about. Mm-hmm. Showing, hey, we're just like you. We got the same interests, we got the same people, we got the same stuff. This is just part of who we are.
Mm-hmm. I'd say a lot of it too is just being able to have a calm discussion, as in don't freak out, because if you freak out about it and you get all nervous and start stumbling over words, it's really going to make the other person wonder, oh, is there something to hide? What's going on? So the main message is just be open, be calm, be open, and find those connections. Like I said, everyone nowadays is a geek. You just gotta find that geek connection, and it'll work.
Yeah, and that openness is key. Like I said, all of MNFurs is completely open. Our administration is open. You can contact and talk to us anytime. You can request any of our documentation. All of that stuff is available to our members and to others, because we want to dispel that myth of that secret, the secret masters running things and the mystique and all of that. It serves no purpose.
Yeah. And
we're open, we're inviting, we want to be clear, we want to be transparent, because it makes it better for every single one of you and for us.
Yeah.
And that's what our goal is.
And this kind of also bleeds into what we'll be doing tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Panel discussing, so you want to start your own furry organization in your area. I mean, so it's all one big outreach. It's all the same thing that we're trying to accomplish here.
And that panel's at 4:30 tomorrow, if you're looking, because I see a bunch of you grabbing your books. But yeah, I mean, that's very much what it is. But it's still going to be scary. I will admit, when that article came out, I had a few sleepless nights. Like,
Yeah,
woo, okay.
because we knew all of a sudden we got the notification, oh yeah, it'll be out later this week. Ooh, boy.
And it's like,
we cross our fingers and...
contains your real name and your fur name, and I had furry friends from Europe. Hey, I read about you in that article.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I had like all of my relatives call me up because they had all seen it. I have like a dozen copies of that article now because every single relative saved their copy to give to me. Mm-hmm. This is on top of the 5 copies I bought for myself.
Yeah.
One out.
I never will. Go for it.
So I know we have an organization here, and everybody has their own organizations. Is there any cooperation as a whole?
Not yet.
No.
But that is something that we are starting to talk about now that we've got MNFurs stabilized. We've got a lot of our legal stuff stabilized. That is one of the next things we're starting to talk about is what can we do to help create a bigger, more global furry community cooperation.
And in some ways, it's already been started. We do a lot of back and forth promotions and advertising with Red River Valley Furs up in North Dakota, the Fargo area. We also do a lot of work for MFF, Midwest Fur Fest, down in Chicago. And they in turn do a lot of work for us, and we of course have ad swaps with them. So this is one of the ad swaps in the back of our convention book. So yeah, we've started, forming the roots and branching out, and currently, we're working a lot with the Midwest, and we hope to expand and be able to help more groups out. That's part of, why we're running this panel and the panel tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's one of my personal goals is in the next 5 years, I would like to start setting up a mailing list or a website for all of the furry organizations throughout the U.S. and elsewhere, to just put a pin on a map and say, hey guys, we're here, here's our website, here's our email group, and to give them a way to start networking with each other. That is something I really think would be wonderful for our group. I mean, we've seen other geek organizations do it, and their communities get much better for it. And we've been the first here, and I think we have a duty to our members and to the community as a whole to see if we can't try and do something like that.
Yeah, and as Rodea said earlier, I mean, the real issue is that we're at the ground floor in terms of furry organizations that are educational nonprofits. As you mentioned,
we're breaking new ground.
Yeah, we are breaking new ground, especially there are other organizations out there within furry, they're centered around one convention. We do things year round, but also a lot of these other furry communities have a board of directors where you are on the board until you no longer wish to be on the board. There isn't an open election. There's no way to get new talent in. That's what you have. So a lot of this, we're also, we're trying to educate the community, like all parts of the community, from people who are at the ground level, want to do more, all the way to the people that feel like they're at the top and say, this isn't the only way to do things, and here are the negatives with doing it the way you are.
And there are some cases, I know of about a half a dozen furry groups that it's basically one or two charismatic people who may, they have a really big house, so every month they just kind of throw a little party in their living room for the local furs to get together, or something like that. But a lot of them don't know that there's so much more they could be doing because they don't know how.
Yeah.
They don't know who to talk to, and that's, I think, part of the outreach that I want to do for us. And part of the reason I was the original starter of the panel, So How You Want to Start a Furry Org in Your Area, is because I'd heard from other people who they would come to us and say, wow, you've put this, how did you do this? Mm-hmm. How did you go from this? Because there's a couple of furs in my area, and we really would like to figure out how to have our own fur meets and stuff, and
Yeah.
And we want to create something that they can always tap into for that, and have and not just have connections, but people they can tap for experience. Because as more of us do it, it's a snowball. There's one now. Next year there could be 2. In 5 years there could be 10. The more that we do and the more people we get involved and the more outreach we do as a community within and without, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and better for everyone. That is what makes this amazing.
All right.
But yeah, that's a good thought, and that's
Yeah,
something that's on our radar. But yeah, like Eric was saying, we're on the ground floor.
Yeah.
We have just hit blast off, and now we're going to see how high this rocket can go.
All right. Any other questions? Not to put anyone on the spot, we should have put in the convoke audience participation.
Yeah. You can blame me for that one. But yeah, I mean, any other thoughts, any other comments? I mean, we're so glad to see all of you guys here. Not just in this panel here, but here at this con, so.
Yeah, exactly.
It only took us 13 years.
Yeah, only 1 or 2.
Sorry that I'm stealing all the attention on this one. But
No, I'm sure
Go for it.
everyone's thankful.
what about future media attention, things like that, getting information out there that's accurate for everybody to kind of see what it's all about, kind of to help break the stereotype?
That we actually have 3 people on our board who has a job together is to work with media relations when they come in. We're here at the con at every event, because we have actually had before reporters just show up at our events like, hey, we want to come talk with you about this.
Yeah, and we're like, what?
Yeah. And like do videos. I mean, the photographer for the Star Tribune, he actually came back later and took a whole bunch of more pictures because he wanted to showcase just how diverse furry was. It's like, here's a raccoon, but he's a pilot. Here's a fox, but he's an auto mechanic. And here's a squirrel, and he's CEO of a Fortune 500 company or whatever.
Well, squirrel would have to be, for the hyperactivity,
But yeah, he was so fascinated by it, and we get that. And we're actually working on providing on our website and in person, making ourselves available to get this information out and to be there for others as this starts coming up. I mean, we've not heard about it many from other organizations. Most of the ones that we've heard about who've had media relations, they're usually the larger cons, and they already have their own PR department. But for organizations, it's a scary step. I mean, the first time you and I stepped into it, it was nerve-wracking. We were sweating.
Well, my first real exposure was actually at this convention last year. I guess that's where I got roped into media relations from there, because City Pages showed up and wanted to interview people, and someone just grabbed me. Hey, they want to talk to a fursuiter, and just, whoa, okay, there, all right, sure, I'll do it. And I had literally 10 minutes to prepare. Just sit in this room and wait for 10 minutes here by yourself. Someone will get you shortly and bring you in front of the camera. So, yeah, that's really where it started for me. And from there, yeah, now I've got the media relations card for our organization along with Rodea here. And, we're probably going to have more media here this year. I mean, the thing is, too, that, of course, furry it's not low-key. It's very easy to spot, hey, there's a fox over there. I mean, not to pick on foxes, it's not like, But
There's just so many of them, it's so easy to track.
Yeah, exactly, right? But that's the thing, that's different a little bit from our conventions and our group. We stand out. I mean, one of our customers, you can spot them from a block or 2 away. So, of course,
Why is there a 7-foot dragon walking down the hallway?
that sounds like a job for the media, and then all of a sudden they're there. And,
Media man.
yep.
But yeah, and like I said, everything is still getting off. I mean, this is so new for everything in the furry community, but we're so excited to see what it could be. And we're one of the first we found, and we've asked people in other parts of the country and in other communities, and not just in furry, but also in other geek communities, and even in geek communities, we're the first one they really know of who really does member elections for their board.
And there are several local geek communities that have been watching us very closely under a microscope since we first began this process, because they'd never seen it done before. I mean, this is all uncharted territory.
And we have had 2 successful elections so far, and it's been going bad. I mean, we have, last election, I think we had 80 people vote out of our community. And we had about 160 who had the option to vote.
The option.
Hey, we got a 50% turnout. We're better than the U.S. government.
Yeah, exactly. The bar set low. Anyway, and the amazing thing is we even had write-ins from people that were in the military that couldn't make it to physically be there, but still wanted to be a part of what was going on.
We do have a few members who are active duty, and they ask that, hey, if there's something coming up, to let them know so they can try and schedule leave time and stuff like that. So we try and reach out to them for that when we know that's coming up. So, I mean, yeah.
When are the elections?
The elections are held in March every year.
Yep. And, you'll be hearing about that in a couple months here.
About November is when you'll start hearing about election stuff.
And then we'll do debates and all the good stuff.
We have full-on debates and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
What does it take to become a candidate? No, I'm not running.
20 volunteer
hours, exactly.
Volunteers and hours and what specifically?
Just volunteer and help out the org.
And this doesn't have to be, it's important to note, we're building better communities. This isn't anyway.
And like I was saying,
it's not supposed to sound corny. The thing is, you don't have to help us directly. You can help even one of our partners, or you can go to Como and help with the Humane Society. Do something to better...
Volunteering here counts.
At this convention right now. And also, I'm not getting paid to plug this at all, but volunteers, if you want to volunteer at this convention, give an hour of your time. They are looking for some more people to help out here and there, so if that's something you want to do.
And volunteering isn't just manual labor. I mean, like, let's say you were talking about the military stuff. Let's say, I don't know if you're local or not.
From California.
Yeah. But yeah, just as an example, like for someone who wants to do a regular get-together of military first, and they want to do that once a month, well, they can just say, I did an hour of running this a month, and there's volunteer credit for them right there. They can just submit it on the website, and we go through and we approve it, or ask questions. We can give feedback, and I mean, that's a new system we just started. We're working on it. I mean, I'm sure we're going to have a few bugs, but the membership is in control of submitting their hours. So if it's important to the members, they can do it. If not, they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. And I mean, volunteering, I also need to express, it's such a positive thing. It's not just giving of your time. I've made some great friends that are still with me today from 10 years ago when I started, and you meet so many wonderful people, and the opportunities just open up for you.
Yeah. In fact, the reason I'm on the board, when that group first got together to talk about forming a nonprofit and all of that, I got dragged in. Hey, you know how to type fast. I guess I volunteered. I got dragged in, and that was 5 years ago.
And
I haven't left since.
Yeah, well, no one else types as fast as he does, and so, no one does, as Charles knows.
They've made the mistake. Someone once asked for the last year of board meeting notes. 12 meetings, 78 pages of type notes.
Why do I have a hunch the person who asked didn't think you had them?
The person who asked, when I gave them to him, came back later and said, I was not expecting this. I need to go buy you dinner now. But yeah, any other questions? I think you had a question.
Oh, actually, I just wanted to thank you guys for that article. Was it back in April, or it was a few months ago?
Yeah.
Oh, the Star Tribune?
But I've been talking at work for starting to get my costume together, and I couldn't get them to believe it was a real thing. And finally, I had actual evidence that these things do exist, and I could show them.
Well, that's awesome.
Watch
And then-
City Page's website for in the next couple of weeks.
I think they're going to be doing another video.
Just saying.
Just saying, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll have time for one or two more questions, and we're going to wrap up for the next panel.
Yep, exactly.
For the elections, do you record your debates and post them?
We do.
We do.
Yep.
We have a YouTube channel. We record our debates and we put them online. We're very high tech about
And
this.
the YouTube channel is connected to the MN.
It's
Yes.
MNFurs. You can search YouTube for MNFurs. It shows right up, or else you can find it also on our website, MNFurs.org.
Yep. When we post like the election debate videos, they actually go onto our front page. We also have a new newsletter. So if you sign up on the website, you can sign up for the newsletter and it will be part of the regular newsletters. Yeah.
And the awesome thing too about the debate, I mean, it's an interactive debate. If you're actually there, you can ask us questions directly. But otherwise, you can. We answer on the forums.
You
we
can
answer
submit
in
a
person,
write-in
you can
question.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last 2 years when we've done the election debates, we have actually done them live as well. So people can watch live over webcam and submit their questions through the chat. So, I mean, it's a big thing. It's new and it's exciting. So, and that's our best way to show, though, that this community is going to be run by its members, that we let our members come in and become the leadership.
Yeah, it's in a way, we're making ourselves really vulnerable here because we rely on you guys. If you guys don't turn out, if you guys don't help us, we're nothing. We have no power.
Well, if you guys don't turn out and don't help, then we're stuck doing this job for the next 10 years. But it's this community. So if the community is unhappy with it, they can come in and take over. And to be honest, one of our biggest duties we consider is the training of new talent and new members to replace us someday.
Yeah, it's actually right up there on our to-do list. When you become a board member, you have to start.
It's the very first item on your board to-do list is start working on your replacement, because nothing excites us more than seeing what someone new is going to do with what we've built. It's like building with Legos. We've built a layer. What are they going to build next on top of what we've just built?
And also, if you happen to move to Minnesota, I think there's a place for you,
Yeah, definitely. If you move out here, let us know. We're always looking for people.
I have anything, if you will.
Well, there we go.
10 more months. 10 more months.
A couple months. Okay.
All right.
Gotta finish my service.
All right.
All right. Well, I think we need to wrap up so the other panel can start getting ready and getting prepped. But absolutely, I want to thank all of you for coming, for your wonderful questions, for your time, and for your care. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to come to our next panel.
Yeah. Or feel free to hunt us out if we aren't running around crazy.